Hey guys.
Hey friends, this is your host, Jermaine Harrison, licensed mental health counselor, here for this Inimitable Podcast. If you did not know what inimitable means, it means something that is so unique it is impossible to duplicate. AKA, my black sheeps, my neurospicy individuals, the misunderstood or Mr. Understood, you know what I'm saying? Welcome to this pod. This is your safe space to be seen, heard, felt, and to be validated. Clock that T, boo. Well, welcome for another episode where we are going to talk about living in purpose, with purpose, on purpose, from overcoming breakups to living in your purpose to enduring life's storms, all the things, right? So I hope you enjoy me and the guests and the conversation that is happening. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll see you soon. Bye. Hey, y'all. How are you doing? So we are here for this lovely episode, and I am so excited. The gentlemen are excited because there's a lot of things we're going to be talking about and covering, all mental health, all Black men, and we are excited to see them heal as well. So with me, I have a ton of amazing, handsome, melanated men. Okay. So they have allowed me to introduce them, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that I don't do a little bit too much because y'all know I'm extra. So first up is he's a good friend, colleague. You know, he works with, he mentors a lot of young people, unfortunately, at-risk youth. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tony.
Nice to meet everyone.
Anything else you want to say? Y'all can say like, hey, what's going on? Be Black, be great, you know. But if not, moving on to the next one. So he is no stranger to the pod. He has been on the Black Man Hill series. Well, he's been on a lot of my episodes. You know, we just have a lot of conversations. He is a mental health advocate. He is a life coach. He does a lot of amazingly great things. And his name is Coach Chris, as you can see. So, Chris, welcome to the pod.
Salutes everybody. What's going on? Good evening to everybody that's out there, man. Welcome in. We better have a good conversation on tonight. I'm looking forward to this.
Indeed. That accent means he is from Texas. And if only y'all heard what we were talking about pre-episode.
Listen, don't start. Yeah,
I'm not. We're moving on. Like I said, I'm not going to be extra.
I'm about to get. All right, go ahead. Cowboys, baby.
He also, the next one is also no stranger to the pod. He has been on a few episodes as well. He was on the Black Man Hill series the last time, and then he also was on the Black Man Hill panel last year, I believe is when it was. I call him the Black Man of New Hampshire, rightfully so, because, you know, he just is. So welcome, Mr. Cordan.
Peace and blessings. Cordan James. Great to see you all. Looking forward to having this evening together to spend this time to open our hearts and be vulnerable, and just ask that we share space to give gratitude for this moment.
Come on, vulnerability. We love this. This is why we're here. Next up, you know, the greatest man on this pod, if you ask me. No shade to anybody else, but he is my bestie. So, you know, I got to be a little extra with that one. Mr. Day he's my bestie. He's the IT specialist. He is my personal IT specialist for Fighting Chance Counseling Services because he does great work. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, he's my bestie for the restie. So, ladies and gentlemen,
Good evening, y'all. I'm looking forward to having an engaging discussion for these questions. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait.
Yeah, he also is a, you know, mental health advocate. He's gonna wear a shirt. If one thing my best friend gonna do, he gonna wear a shirt that's gonna get you thinking about mental health and everything. That's what he does. I don't know if Robert is on. I don't know what's going on with camera situations, but we also have Robert. I've known him for years on in since I was 12, I believe. So he's gonna probably be popping in and out, you know. Technical difficulties. It's a thing. But while we're here, we're going to keep going. So, gentlemen, I'm going to shoot this to Chris first, and then anyone else who wants to answer can answer. Obviously, this pod is about mental health. And as Black men, I think it is a silent killer for a lot of people, but especially for Black men. So, Chris, mental health, what do we know about it? How do we address it? How does it show up in your world? Technical difficulties. Good Lord. We gonna get together, y'all, I promise.
Not the difficulties.
Look, Darren, you want to answer it since you are unmuted? Go for it.
Yeah, if y'all need some in-house IT help, you can come to your boy.
I'll let your boy.
In the meantime, can you repeat the question so that I can get back into it?
Mental health. How does it show up in your world? How do you address it as a Black man in America?
It shows up a lot of different ways. I feel like work is, easily the most prominent way it shows up. Working in IT and for working in the field with Black men, there's certain demands that come onto you, that happen to you. Your work has to be great. I'm sure we've all heard it before, where you say you got to work twice as hard just to get, like the bare minimum of what it is that you need. And it feels like that, because you deal with a lot of dog whistling and a lot of different spaces, or gatekeeping more specifically, that you got to keep pushing, regardless if you're getting gatekeeped, regardless if, someone's literally trying to keep you out of a space that you belong in, you're qualified in. It definitely messes with your psyche. It messes with your stress, and your own self-worth, because you don't feel like you're not a lot if you didn't get that promotion you knew was supposed to go to you, for example. You don't feel like you are doing good work if you get passed over for, certain accolades or certain projects that you were supposed to be on, that we're going to give it to the new guy and see how they go. Guess what color the new guy is? So in a lot of spaces, it's stress, that silent killer that happens at work a lot. How do I deal with it? I think I touched on this before in another one of your lives, May. Staying positive. It's hard enough out here already. And it becomes even harder when you don't have a level of positivity in your life or optimism that things will get better. Whether that's through my own grit and my own work ethic, or through someone looking out, or God saying, hey, your blessing is now because this is the right time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I try to be positive in a lot of different situations, even when you're feeling small. There's not a lot of room for me to show, like that true emotion. So being positive gets me through a lot.
Okay. Chris, welcome back. Would you care to answer said question since I threw it to you first?
No, just run the question by me again. I said, whatever's going on with my man Robert happened to me.
Right.
Run back the question, sis.
Mental health. How does it show up in your world? How do you deal with it as a Black man in America?
Mental health. How does it show up? Man, for me personally, man, the way it shows up, it's broad. You know what I mean? It's the good mental health, and then it's, the bad mental health. I heard Brother Day, he spoke about the positive piece. That mental health aspect, it does go a long way. Affirming yourself daily. At least for me, that's what I do. First and foremost, man, keeping God first, man, to be honest with you. That's my anchor. That's what keeps me grounded. That's where, my validation comes from. And so when my validation is coming from God, I'm like, everything else, man, the chips is going to fall. Mm-hmm. So validation from God, it's big to my mental health. That gives me clarity. That gives me peace. That gives me strength, all of that good stuff right there. And then it's the bad mental health. That's the, seeking validation the wrong way, social media, or comparing yourself, these types of things like that. So, I like to stay away from the bad mental health side of things. And it's both of them are cause and effect. So the good mental health, I would say, find something that keeps you grounded and keeps you happy, keeps you joyful, positive, and keeps you, focused on your North Star. To stay away from the bad mental health. The bad mental health is, the things that, you just want to feel this drain at the end of the day. If you get where I'm coming from, that's the bad mental health. If the good mental health is going to give you energy and you're going to be energized, you're going to feel good for the day. Bad mental health, you're going to be drained at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. I love that. The North Star. And y'all know we love God over here. Okay. So he gonna be talked about over here. Okay.
So
But yeah, there is like Chris, who was on the last Black Man Hill series, he always would say everyone has a mental health, but some of us have mental illness, right? So like Chris was saying, there's good, there's not so good. And a lot of us have to learn how to manage it. So that leads into my next question. And I think I do want everyone to answer this one. So Tony, I'm gonna throw it to you first, and then we're just gonna go, I guess, clockwise. So Tony, Cordan, Darren, Chris, and then Rob. Men carry a lot of things. Okay. Black men, more specifically, carry a lot of things, and they carry it in silence, whether it's because they don't have safe spaces, because they're emasculated anytime they emote, whatever the case may be. So in your personal experience, what are some things that men carry that society and women do not know that you guys carry? Can you shed some light on that for me, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, I'm going to speak a lot personally for me.
Mm-hmm.
Shame, backgrounds, whatever that background is, you come with that. That comes with a stigma, all right? That comes with finger pointing. That comes with a lot of heartache, whether it's you, whether it's the family. Lots of other things too, man. There's, the need to be vulnerable, right? I feel like as Black men, we already have this fear that is expected to be projected onto us. You know what I'm saying? So we tend to kind of fall victim to that, fall suit to that, some of us, you know what I'm saying? So you don't have the opportunity to just be that vulnerable self, you know what I mean? That stuff's inside of you where you just want that piece of you to be out, where you want people to understand you, not just what you look like and how you're built or something, you know what I'm saying? So that's a lot of the things that I deal with on a daily basis. And just being in a place where I could feel like I just can be myself, right? I want to listen to rock music, I listen to rock music, right? I want to dance the country, I'm gonna dance the country. Like trying to overcome stigmas and labels, man, it wears you down. It can get to you if you're not careful, if you're not diligent.
No, that's good. Because listen here, we love us a good remix of music, okay? Because like you if you driving in the car with me for more than an hour, you gonna get all the genres and you're gonna appreciate it too. So,
same. Yeah. I get side looks from my kids. I'd be like, man, kids too.
They mad. They don't understand it. But thank you for it. Cordan, go for it.
So I feel like it's definitely a big question. My brain is freezing. I think when it comes to my mental health, like Tony said, sometimes it is definitely around identity. Where do we land at the end of the day as masculine men? When masculinity is being challenged upon all fronts, I think when you are the vulnerable man, when you are somebody who speaks for yourself, I don't think that these things are unknown. I think that's a stigma that is perpetuated, that is not known. There's, you can look at your brother and see what he was going through. You could look at your uncle and see what he was going through. You could look at your dad and see what he was going through. So it's very well known, but what are we doing about it, right? And I think that's where the challenge is where do we land when it all falls down, right? And I think for me, like, yes, I work in this space. So I work in the mental health space. I mentor kids. I mentor young Black men. I mentor young boys, period. But in creating those spaces, that voice is hard to be heard when there's not a whole lot you can do for somebody, right? And I find if I tell you something, what are you going to do about it, right? What can you do about it, right? Right. And I think that's what a challenge is with a lot of us as men is you have to provide, you got to take care of yourself. That's a human being nature to take care of yourself. But also not everybody is well connected to have somebody who's going to help them, who has the capacity, the energy, the resources to actually help them. And I think that's the challenge, right? Because there are people who want to hear you, but once you open that lid, where does that sympathy, where does that empathy, where does that actual help come from a resource, real dollars, a place to eat? Where does that really come from? So I think that's where the struggle is. And I think the opposite side of that is we have programs created for us.
Mm-hmm.
But we as human beings and men do not engage in those programs. Right?
Wow.
There are resources for us and we're not tapping into them. And I think that's a stigma that we have to overcome. There are resources for us.
Wow. That's, sir. Now you see why I had these specific gentlemen on, because y'all speaking to me. And I know if it's hitting me and I'm in this field, it's speaking to somebody else. Thank you. The shame, vulnerability, identity. And what will you do when someone is vulnerable and willing to share? What is your response? And I think that's so good, because I think men do share, and it looks different depending on the person. But when they do share, it's like, if you didn't do nothing about it, this is why men stay silent, because all you did is just hear them. But when women say stuff, we demand action, right? And it's unfair that when men do it, there isn't much action. But I do agree that if there are resources, we should, as a people, we should tap in, you know. So if you're watching and you're in the comments, throw some stuff in the comments, even if it's a black fist, if it's a heart. Y'all talk back to us. We like to talk. I like to talk. They may not, but talk, engage. Darren, you're up, sir.
I'm gonna say something really, really controversial. To add on with Cordan and Tony was saying as well, because we do recognize, and and there's always someone saying, hey, there are resources available. There's help that's, that you can be needed. But to be honest, sometimes our culture is what holds us back from saying things, like the culture of being a black man. Like, that's something that everybody wants to talk about. Some people might not know that could be helpful. Like, it's not ingrained in any part of our culture yet, in a meaningful way for us to seek mental health. Like, you might hear it in some, in some churches. You might hear it in some, in small groups. Like, I have my group chat with my men. We can speak on that. I have a brother I call, he say, hey, how's your mental health? But these aren't things in our culture we speak on heavily. It's always small pockets of places where we speak on this, where, you forget, as a black man, you put a lot on our shoulders and just say, you got it, you good, you're strong, because I need you to be my rock. I need you to be, my pillar of strength. Like, when I listen to God,
for the damages.
I listen for a man that's also listening to God. So I need you to be all of those things. And it gets forgotten all of the time. Like, hey, where's the care? Where's the empathy? Where's, where is the space for that man at the end of the day, outside of just this man group chat that might be 2 or 3 people? It might just be one guy you've known since Sandbox and elementary. But, where's the space at the end of the day, at the end of the week, where you can really woosah? And I feel like our culture doesn't create enough spaces for that. Like, the music that we listen to, like the standards we uphold in a lot of spaces, like what you actually look for a black man to do in the neighborhood, in your community, like in your schools. It's not always speaking on mental health. It's showing toughness. It's showing strength, and that doesn't get talked about, because the other end of that strength is it wanes at some point. You're working out that you got to relax your muscles. You got to rest. You got to have at least one rest day before you go crazy on your legs. Like, you got to give it some time to heal. So that's not ingrained in our culture all of the time. It's only when, like a man finds a wife, for example, he knows what rest and peace is. I've had multiple men, like, when it comes to taking care of themselves, it's unknown to them until they get married. Like, I had an uncle that told me, he was like, the first time he's ever gotten a pedicure, where he felt like, oh, this was okay to do as a man, his wife took him. Like, that was the first time ever. Like, and I'm thinking about that, and I sit at home, I'm clipping my nails myself. So I agree with it. Like, it's not encouraged. Like, other men aren't saying, hey, it's okay to cry. Other men aren't saying, hey, it's okay to really get out what's bothering you. Dude, let's go get our nails done. Pause. But let's go do something that takes care of just our mental health. Because we know what we're going through. Like, we know what we're going through. And there's not a lot of us that still says, hey, black man, what do you need? For our women to do that a lot. And, that's usually why we end up in so many bad relationships because all we're doing is passing trauma from one person to another, because this is the only space that shows care and concern, because now that they know us, they want us to be great.
Mm-hmm.
But our
y'all see me pull this out, this means I'm about to throw this at one of these men on his head. Hey, you better talk, best friend. Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things. I'm like, I'm gonna be controversial because I know there's somebody that'll be like, that's not true, and I'm like, it's not true to a lot of people. But there's, like, we all have a group chat. We all have a male group chat where we can really get real. But we don't have a space like that always within family, within school, within work. HR is not your friend. We know those things. So like we stay guarded in all of these spaces because we don't know how real we can be until we get real in that space and it gets burned. And I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
I like that. And one thing my best friend gonna do is he gonna be some controversial. He gonna bring us some controversial stuff. But I'm about to throw this pen at him because he's hitting on a lot of great things. This ain't a pen. This is lip liner. But y'all know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, don't judge me. The culture. We love to blame the white man and the white folks and the systems and the thing. But what happens when we're the problem, y'all? What happens when we are the thing that is hindering ourselves from getting the help? Whether it's because men can't share with other men without being like, "Hey, yo, bruh, I don't want that," or because the language of healing isn't in our families. So when we bring trauma and pain to our families, they're like, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that one uncle that did that thing that don't nobody want to talk about. We don't talk about why that crazy auntie is crazy because stuff happened. We don't talk about it, right? And it's like, how do we expect people to heal when you're not having the conversation? And if your own internal system is broken, we definitely ain't going to try to find it out there.
Yeah.
Right. And so we do seek out relationships to kind of heal that broken part of us. And then it's like, child, we ain't really healing nothing. We just, like he said, we just passing it on like it's an STI or something. Again, y'all.
All right, it's over.
That way though, because all you're doing is passing the trauma from one person to another. If they couldn't solve it, let's give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that we're not lovable. It's just you have that harm. You have, you have your mental health to deal with, and one person can't help you through that.
Nah.
That's why they're trying to love you.
Yeah.
Period.
For sure. Sorry, not to cut in, but as we think about this, is like, what do we do about that part? Right. I think of like, how do you give somebody the words to actually deal with what they're going through? Right. So say we take that situation where you got a perverted uncle in the family. The adults are usually going to call that out. Hopefully they call that out. And then what happens after that? Right. Are we going to do healing circle and heal as a family around that issue? Or are we just going to cut uncle off, or uncle still comes around and we just bury it?
Uncle going to jail.
Well, uncle usually don't go to jail.
Right. I was like, I don't know, Darren. Uncle still be around.
If you grandmother's baby, you got to go.
I'm saying he should because then the healing could happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But instead he's around re-traumatizing the kids. And I know we saying uncle, but I know plenty of aunties touching young boys as well.
Sure.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Right. And they still around in people's spaces, and there's the fear, that whole trauma culture. But it's like, if we were to actually deal with that, right? They go to jail, and then it's usually the kid needs to go to therapy. The family does a little bit of stuff, but like the long-term impact of that is crazy.
Yeah.
Let me share some on that, if you don't mind. So it's the same, man. Sometimes it ain't about the words, right? Sometimes it's just about being there, right? Creating those safe places, those safe spots, right? Might not be the first time, might not be the second time, might not even be the 100th time. But every time that person's there, you show up for them, you create that space, maybe you start opening some doors. Because that's really what I think it is. Sometimes there ain't no words to fix it. There ain't no words to help that. You just need to be there. When they're ready,
you need to be believed.
You need to be there. Yeah, that's it. Just safe space.
Yeah. You need to be believed and advocated for.
Yeah.
Y'all on
that take time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I feel like that kind of goes back to our friendship. How often do we have problems with our buddies? Like, you know, Darren says, I'm having a hard day. Where does the conversation go after that?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
like
It's usually a very shallow, yeah, I'm going through it too, some type of acknowledgement. And then we're doing whatever we do.
Because we don't know. We don't have the capacity to be like, nah, I'm going to carry this with you, bro. It's going to be like, well.
I mean, meanwhile, I should check in, you know, text him during the day. Yo, hey, man, I know you said you was having a hard day earlier. Just checking in on you, homie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? At the end of the day, hey, you wanna come over? We're gonna light the fire and just chit chat for a little bit.
Dude, that's a world of a difference for some people. You know, like you might only get to talk about it when you see them, and then be like, well, now once we leave, that's it. We don't talk about it no more. You know, where you're not checking back in, bro. You know, how you feel after that conversation we had yesterday? You good? You know, let me know if you need something.
And see, that's it right there. Because I'm hung on what my brother Darren, what he was saying, man, and well, all of the fellas, man, everyone broke down some very good topics. But it's that piece of finding that space. And if you can't find the space, black men, we got to create the space. And that be our thing right there. Yeah, Tony, you said that. And that be our thing right there. We waiting for these spaces to, you know, pop up magically out of the earth. I'm like, bro, God done gifted, you got something going on. And God done gifted you something where you can go out and create. And that's, we hang back too long. We do too much, bro. We do too much procrastinating. We do too much hanging around. We do too much like slow footing. And I'm like, if you don't see it out, if you don't, what you're searching for and you don't see it out there, go make it, go create it. And that's the thing. Yeah. And that be the thing with us, man. So like, yo, once it gets created, be consistent with it too. That's what Tony was getting. That's what Darren was saying. Be consistent. When you hitting that homie up, don't hit him up for 1 week and then go another 2 or 3 months and you don't hear nothing. And that's when we fall off right there. So the consistency piece, bro, and just create. It's greatness in every single last one of us, not just us on this panel, but every black man that's out there that's chiming in and listening in and watching this stuff. Bro, go create, man.
Get it.
Whatever it is that, bro, whatever God gave you, somebody out there waiting on that job, whether it's suicide, whether it's a suicide, you know, group, whether it's a mental health group, whether it's you know, just whatever you do, yeah, man, go create, man. That's my joint right there. So yeah, we searching for these spaces, but the spaces you searching for is already inside of you.
Already there.
If you don't preach here on this pod, Christopher, sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
You're right on that though, but I mean, to tell you the truth, like a lot of us men need that encouragement, like saying that you can do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people know they can do it, but they're afraid to do it because they're looking at what people might think if they do this, or what people you know, might say, and then it's like now they backtrack themselves from doing it because they don't really have that encouragement support, like that support to let them know that they are a strong, well-minded man, or to let them know like, hey, you can do this. Go ahead, push yourself. And a lot of us men, honestly, we get too comfortable in certain areas to where we bypass everything else because we're so used to being stuck in this area. So when we get into a form of comfortability, it's like, okay, it's like, all right, I'm more relaxed here. So I'm going to say I'm going to do this, but 5 years down the line, I'm still not going to get it done because I'm so used to being here. And you got to get out of that. We got to get out of that mentality because a lot of people look up to us men and see what us men are doing in order for a lot of people to react to a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I call that autopilot. Right?
Yeah,
You gotta get off autopilot. Right.
Right.
Grab a hold of the steering wheel, man. You gotta take some direction. Right. You gotta take control. Real talk.
Y'all are preaching on this here podcast of mine, and I appreciate y'all. I appreciate what y'all melanin infested men are doing because I love it. So I feel like this, Cordan, don't judge me. I can see your face. what you guys are alluding to is safe spaces, right? Some call them safe spaces, some call them brave spaces. I call them an embrace space, whatever you want to call it. It looks different. I know for women, we're allowed to cry and emote and cuss and child throw things and claw at somebody's face. Although we shouldn't, ladies, we got to do better. Okay, our time is coming. But what does a safe space look like for a man, right? Because I would assume it is a space where a man can easily emote and not be emasculated. I would assume it's a space where men can go amongst men and be like, hey, yo, bro, you need to cry on my shoulder. You know what I'm saying? Like, without it being like, yo, you mad sussy or zesty. And it's like, first of all, if I can't show up for my brother, who is?
Who's going?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm gonna toss this to Rob. You end it, so you're gonna start it. Safe spaces for Black men. What does that look like? What do you think it should be, if it's not already?
Honestly, like, I believe that a safe space should be an area where a man can go to release his innermost feelings to people that he can trust and that won't take his business and run it out amongst everybody else. And it's an area where a man can really be a man, like to let people know I'm just not a man just by the way I'm standing. I'm a man that also in my emotions. Like, I can express myself. I can let you know when I'm upset. I can let you know when I'm sad. I can, I should be able to release tears in front of you if I'm ever in an emotional state, because we tend to hold a lot of emotions in. And, with us holding them in, all it does is just build up, because we don't have a true safe area to release our feelings and our emotions. And that's what takes, like, honestly, I think that's what takes a major toll on us men and young people, because you don't have a space, or you don't have that proper communication with anybody to release your innermost feelings that you can't release in front of everybody else.
That is good, sir. Anybody else want to tap in? Safe space.
Yeah. Good, Cordan, you want me to go? All right. So I look at it like the safe place is the place you can take the hats off, right? Whether it's your home, whether it's a therapist's office, whether it's your homies, whether it's the wife, it's the girl, whatever it is. All right. So let me take the father hat off. Okay. I don't know if y'all noticed, I took my hat off because I'm like, all right, this is being vulnerable. This is me. All right. I'm not at work no more. I'm not working with the kids. All right. There's that image. This is me. All right. So let me take that hat off. Okay. Let me take the worker hat off. Let me take the plumber hat off. All the things that we do on a daily basis, we take those hats off. All right. And you feel comfortable enough to take those hats off and be there. Like, all right, this is me. This is what's really going on with me. Okay. I'm mad. I'm angry. Angry is a secondary emotion. So I'm actually hurt. I'm here. I'm sad. All right. What does that space look like for us? Right. And that, of course, is going to look different for everybody else. But that's what I consider my safe place. Okay. Let me take all my hats off. Let me just be me. What you see there, all right, whatever's happening, I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm happy, I'm whatever that is. That's the safe places that we need to try to find. And where that comes from, it's going to look different from all of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. I had to throw my daggone lip thing at you because.
I'm glad I ain't over there because it'd have hit me in the eye.
Yeah.
Take the hats off and be allowed to just be. Me and Darren have a lot of conversations. And one thing I always take away from the conversation is that men are programmed to provide, to carry all the hats and do all the things, and then be expected to not have any problems or emotions or heavy anything. And I'm like, well, that's a shame, because women we know we carry everything, and we try to be like, no, I need y'all to understand. Underneath all of this, I am she, I am her, I am female, and it's like, right. But why is that not the same expectation for a man? Like, it's so dehumanizing to be like, men, shut up. Y'all just carry this and carry it well, and don't be mad at nothing. Like that, it just doesn't make sense. But go ahead, Cordan.
So I know I brought this up on the last time I talked with you, Jermaine, but Ted Bunch, he talks about the man box theory. And if you haven't heard of the man box theory, what that is as men, we are wrapped into a box that tells us how we should be in society as men, right? And so I'm looking this up, and it refers to a rigid set of expectations, perceptions, and behaviors that are considered manly or a real man's behavior, imposed on men by the society, such as superiority, cruelty, emotional suppression, lack of physical intimacy with other men, and expectations, socially aggressive or physical behavior. Right. And I think a lot of that is, he talks about how homophobia is what we are in this box of, right? It's not acceptable for me to hug Darren in all spaces. In the hood, it's not acceptable for me to smile, right? To release, to be soft, to be gentle, to let my guard down. So I feel like that is a hat to take off, right? Being comfortable expressing affection as a man to another man without it being counterculture to who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Right. And ultimately to our man culture, our masculinity, it is acceptable to hug another man, to tell him that I love you, to call him, to check up on him, to take him out and do something to get his mind off whatever he's going through. That is acceptable to do all those things. It's acceptable to speak up for yourself. It's acceptable to know what you want, where your boundaries are, where you stand on things. Those are all acceptable things that society necessarily doesn't teach us that we are allowed to do. And like Coach Chris was saying, that's our right. Right? There's another coach I listen to. He talks about never let somebody take away your capacity to cry. Right? That is your God-given right to feel your emotions, and as a man, that is your fight for that like we fight for everything else. And that is the safe space. Taking off that hat, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna throw this at you, but I am gonna say that this is so needed, because I don't think men are given the opportunity to cry and say, like, I got emotions too. I struggle.
Yeah.
This is why, like I was gonna save this kind of towards the end, but since we're already here, right? Chris is a Cowboys fan. Listen, but this
And
is
proud Cowboy fan. Get it right. Proud of Dallas.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
ain't gonna talk about the Cowgirls Cowboys today, but there was an incident that did happen recently where unfortunately a player became another man of color that took his life, right? And I don't know how many celebrities this needs to happen to for it to be like Black men are hurting sometimes more than the average person. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because this false sense of masculinity or the expectation that men can carry and men can handle all of the things. Obviously, we can't just look at the outside and assume he's okay. We can't see the smiles and the dollar signs and assume this man is okay. So I'm going to throw this to Chris first, and then anyone else who wants to touch upon it, of this conversation about suicide, this conversation about assuming people are okay and not checking in on the strong friend or the successful one, because successful people carry heavier burdens than just the average Joe Schmo. So suicide, checking in, community. How do we do it better so that we're not losing more men?
Man, that is tough, because I myself, I dealt with suicidal thoughts 2 years ago. And honestly, community, yeah, community can do something better, but I'm gonna put a lot of the emphasis on the individual. Like, if you're going through something, it's up to you to reach out, to be honest with you, because sometimes we actually do it actually do be people available. There's hotline numbers that are out there. There are spaces that we can't get in contact with. There are homeboys, there are dads, there are uncles, mothers, grandmothers, whatever it is. Sometimes we gotta let the false masculinity piece. We gotta drop that. The patriarch, that right there, designing that. A lot of men still operating that. It's like, yo, I gotta carry these burdens. I ain't got nowhere to go. I have nobody to talk to. I'm a man if I, express what's going on with me, and we carry this weight of, mistakes and not forgiving ourselves, and just whatever. And then that's when these suicidal thoughts come about, because you're carrying so many burdens, so much weight, and you're not linked up to somebody to help you carry that weight and take it up off of your shoulders. But a lot of the emphasis that's got to be placed on the person. I mean, not to be nonchalant or not to be harsh with it. I'm like, if you're going through something, it's up to you to open your mouth and reach out. To be honest with you, you got to put forth that action and go seek help and get whatever type of help you need to get to it ASAP. Because I had to do that. Somebody tossed me a lifeline when I was going through my suicidal moment. Someone tossed me a lifeline. I was going through suicidal thoughts because being the man, working 2 jobs, not sleeping enough, gotta bring home the bacon, can't rest, can't do this. Because if you stop, your family gonna fall off, you gonna fall off, you're not gonna be a man, whatever the case. What makes me happy is operating in purpose. That's what makes me happy. And I feel like that's what make a lot of men happy, if they're operating in purpose. But that's just me. So when someone tossed me a lifeline and got me back into doing the things that I actually love doing, that's when life kicked in all over again. Suicide left, man. So it's up to us to reach out, man. On the cool, we gotta go get the help that we need.
Gentlemen, who will be next?
I can definitely echo the same message as Coach Chris. Like, some personal accountability does need to live with some of these moments, because short of someone that pays attention to every single thing you do, you're the only person that knows you're going through something at that moment. You're the only person that recognizes, hey, something's different, something's off. Especially you're not living with your mom, you're not living with your dad. Like, nobody is that in tune with you unless you're a married individual. But even then, they can still miss the mark because they're not you. We as men do a lot of, we do a great job at hiding a lot of our emotions behind the work we're doing, how busy we are. We do a great job at hiding that from even some of the people that know us, the most. So it does need to kick in at some point. Hey, something's wrong. I can't do this alone. Maybe that's the opportunity to tie someone else in, because it's tough. I can understand. I've also dealt with, feelings of suicide. This was years ago, stemming from like a failed engagement that didn't work out. And if I didn't have the support I had around me at that time, I would have succeeded, because I didn't see a way out of my situation. I also wasn't talking to anyone about it either. So, I kept this into myself, like what's worse than failing at your job, like failing in a relationship. Sometimes, like, hey, when you're the one that's doing something wrong, like, hey, I don't want to tell nobody my shame. Like another one, you ain't in this relationship again, another one. Like, I don't want to tell people my shame. So you internalize that, and it becomes a bigger issue when another problem springs up that no one knows about.
No one knows.
So if I didn't have, friends that were perceptive or didn't care, why not? I can tell you exactly how it happened. I had no intention of actually talking to anyone about what was going on, but I had a real close friend at the time. I sent a message, late night message, like, how they have the little jokes, like when your bro sends you a message at 3 a.m, like, thank you for being there. You need to be going to their house. And she got this message. She woke up with her boyfriend at the time. And had she not have been, like at my door, beating at my door, calling my roommate, like my roommate's upstairs asleep. He has zero idea what's going on. Had she not have done any of that, I would have tried again. And I would have tried again, because that was the only option I saw as, my path forward. So I thank them a lot for that, because it got me back in tune with like as Chris said, finding the things that do make you happy, finding the things that do excite you, finding things that, suicide becomes less and less of a thought in your life until it's just not there. Like it's gone. But it does have to start with yourself. You got to admit, hey, things got really rough at this moment. And, thank your friends if you had someone to come up and show up for you. And then make sure it doesn't happen again. Like, I got the suicide hotline on my phone number just in case. I don't have any issues, but just in case, because you never know who you meet. You might need to share that same thing too.
Yeah.
And it need be more vigilant against people that do suffer from it. Where now I'm more hyper focused on what do you need? How do you doing? Let me pause my day and make sure you're good.
Yeah.
Because I know what that feels like when you literally are in a room by yourself. Making these decisions, having these thoughts, and you're not sharing them. You don't know who you can share this to. If there's shame wrapped around it, you're not going to want to share.
Yeah. No, this is good because there's so much tied into getting the help, right? Sometimes it's a matter of putting pride aside and being like, obviously I'm in a space where I can't handle it anymore. I need to reach out. But I also think there is a response from the community, as Darren was just saying, like, if you get that call, if you get that text, if something in your spirit, man, just ain't sitting right, pick up the phone. Matter of fact, pick up the phone and be like, I'm on my way. Matter of fact, I'm outside, and start banging on that door.
Yeah.
Because I as a safe space for a lot of people, but also as a therapist, I hear all the time, if this person didn't show up or didn't sit on the phone with me for 5 hours or didn't, see me, I would have been gone. Right. So there has to be a response from both the individual and then the community that surrounds them. Pride has to go out the window. This fear of being emasculated or this fear of being judged, if it's a matter of life or death, it has to go, because your life is worth more than the shame you'll feel in that moment or the embarrassment you'll feel in that moment, because your life matters. It always will matter. You are here for a reason, and this is why it matters. So even when you don't see it, even when you don't feel it, you should have at least 1 to 2 people that if I call them, they already know what's up. We've already had this conversation. You know what I'm saying? And for anybody who knows me, y'all call me if this is ever you. Call me. But I think this kind of leads into that conversation about like community. What does that look like for men, right? Is it other Black men? Is it female friends? Is it girlfriend, wife, shorty, whatever you want to call it? How and what does that look like for you guys to make sure that you guys are not just supported, but seen, validated, and heard? Tony, I'm gonna throw that to you first, and then whoever wants to answer can answer.
Yeah, so I would say there's a lot more that connects us than separates us, right? So we just got 2 very, very powerful men expressing some deep stuff that they've gone through, and I myself have gone through that as well. So for me, it's about being the voice, right? It's about that, and just being open enough to say, yeah, look, I've dealt with suicidal thoughts for some very, very long time, for some very, very stressful real life stuff. And just knowing that people in the community know that there's real people out here that's doing that, right? You could say, I know there's a lot of hotlines and there's a lot of things that you can do, but having that camaraderie with someone that just like experiences are the best teacher, I guess is the best way to say that. So if you've gone through that, you know those feelings. Whatever the reason is, might be different, but those feelings are still always the same. And when we could show up in that way, when we could stand in front of a large crowd or podcast, whatever it is, and say, hey, this was my life for real. This was me, 100%. Right? That opens the door for maybe some other people to say, you know what, I need to reach out to someone. When we can break it down like we're doing right here, saying, this is what's happening in my life, a divorce or incarceration, whatever it was that got you to that point, there's somebody that can relate to that. There's some experiences out there that is going to hit home with someone. Right? And it's tough just trying to figure that out, trying to get past that initial first step, right? Like taking the first step, that's always the hardest. But once you're getting past that first step, man, sometimes that's all it takes. It's just one person to just say, I understand. Not because I'm trying to comfort you, but because I'm coming from something deep inside here to say, I hear you. I understand. Or at least let me tell you my story.
I love that.
Yeah, I definitely think that's important because, community can struggle with being vulnerable. Like the services are there, like the programs are there, but they don't speak to, how relatable it can be for that person. So you might have seen the suicide hotline number, on a bus one day, but that's, that's not objective. There's no feeling applied to that versus when you sit in a group and you can hear, another man say, hey, I've dealt with this. I had to call this number, at one of my lowest moments, that vulnerability is what triggers other people to want to be vulnerable, because, I had a therapist tell me before, like some years ago, when I felt like, I'm the only person going through what's going on right now, talking about my situation, like, oh, I'm engaged, everything that's going on, how is this falling apart? And he had said something shocking to me, like at the time, he was like, you're not the only one going through this stuff, and it wasn't offensive. It wasn't negative. It was meant to show that, like when you start to realize that there are more people out there that are suffering and dealing with something similar or exactly what you're going through, you're not the only person that's been incarcerated. You're not the only person that's been divorced. You're not the only person that has lost, like that has gone through miscarriage or gone through an abortion. When you realize you're not the only person going through it, you realize that there's more help out there available. There are more people that can relate, and there's more people you can talk to about it to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think when we start to have vulnerable moments, like I know, Cordan, with you, I've seen some of your talks where you've been very vulnerable about things that you've gone through with people. And I have no doubt that is impactful to some people you probably would have never met in your life had you never have shared that kind of thing. And I think that's what needs to happen more in communities. So like having, influential and impactful Black men coming up and saying, hey, we've gone through this. It's not as shameful as society may make it. You're not broken because you've had suicidal thoughts. You're not broken because something didn't work in your life or because you've been dealing with failure. And I feel like I just try to tell people, just go get help. Just go get help, and without sharing the why. Because if you're not sharing a strong enough why, no one's going to want to get the help, because they're going to think, I'm all alone in this. You just think something's wrong. It's like, no, we want you to heal, get help, and, and be productive moving forward for yourself.
That's good. And I love that you guys are not just saying, here's what community is. I think you guys are also saying like the benefits of having a community. It allows you to share your story. And Darren is right. Like, because I know most of these men personally, we've had conversations. I know most of them come from some dark places, right? And if they don't share their story, they don't know who their story can heal. Because I'm a firm believer, I'm gonna get churchy. Sorry, not sorry. The Bible says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. Meaning, I gotta open my mouth and say something because I don't think, and I know, I'm not even gonna say I don't think. I know you don't go through what you go through just because you need to make it out on the other side. Your testimony alone can save people from going through what you went through. Your testimony alone can be that driving force that says, if they can make it, so can I. If they can overcome incarceration and still impact, so can I. If they overcome being a vet and dealing with PTSD, so can I. If they can overcome heartbreak and loss, so can I. Right? So there's so much power behind, and yeah, I get churchy sometimes. Y'all know this. There's so much power in the testimony, but the beauty is that it's not, the Bible didn't just say the testimony, the blood of the Lamb, meaning you're covered. The word is covered. Your testimony is covered. So even when people want to use it against you, it's covered. Even when people are going to try to dog you and all, it's covered, y'all. I'm not going to get too preachy because I feel myself getting excited right now. But yeah, we overcome and we have to talk. So can I. Yes, ma'am. So can I. Hashtag y'all hold on to that.
Sure.
Hashtag so can I.
So can
Cordan,
I.
you have something to say?
So okay.
Just as we talk, I just want to, I feel like it's always important to advocate and call out certain things in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it's always important to put an identity out to transracial adoptees and for veterans and military, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think veterans and military, I was talking with a friend about this the other day when we talk about masculinity in military or enforcing roles, right? Oftentimes there's not a space where you can go to if you're a police officer, if you're a United States soldier. Sometimes there's not always, it doesn't seem like there's that place or a safe space to go and say, here's what I'm going through, right? Because all the rules and politics around that, right? And I feel like those are spaces that we need to call into. Those are jobs that are called to serve and protect. And I feel like even more so, those roles have another layer added to them of their vulnerability, right? Mm-hmm. Vulnerability is not, those aren't necessarily roles you necessarily want your vulnerability to be on display. And so I just want to call in to everybody in those places who is military, who is a first responder, who's a police, to take that chance and express to someone, to HR, to your friend, to your shift captain, to your section sergeant, that you are available and that you're going through something and that you don't always have to embrace the suck. Today is the day that you need help.
Yeah.
So I just want to stress that.
Yeah. Actually, Cordan, if I can, my fault.
Go ahead.
No, go right ahead. I'll go right after you.
Go ahead, brother.
So if I can, man, I would add incarceration to that, bro. All right, there's that same piece, same exact piece. All right, I was inside for a long time, bro. I know good men inside that they struggle with that. Why? Because it's a stigma.
Absolutely.
That stigma carries with you when you get out. Right? These men are trying to be normal men and trying to overcome a stigma. Right? Job interviews, anytime you run into somebody that might know what your past, your charge, those type of things, those stigmas, they absolutely are the same. And it's the same as like the military or police. Like where do you go to for that? Right? Where's the support for that?
You're expected to be shamed for it anyway.
Yes.
Right.
So it's just the opposite scale, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You carry all that shame, right? There's no place to go to. Why? Because most places are going to say, well, you did something wrong.
Right.
You can't have that shame. You earned that. Right? Just not the same. It's to take accountability and trying to be the person that you've put all these important things in place to try to help people get back and acclimated to the society. Now you're telling me when I'm trying to give you the human aspect of that part of me,
that
vulnerability, I can't because I have the stigma. You know what I mean? So same thing, brother. I feel you. There's that piece there, right? And I know men right now struggling with that.
I love that.
I do too.
I love that. The other day, sorry, Robert, I was talking with a young brother because we all live in Manchester. I was talking with a young brother in Manchester, and he's 20 years old, got into a shooting a couple weeks ago, and it's just this young gang stuff. They grew up in high school together. They had their little beefs, and those little beefs turned to big beefs, and now they can't stop it, right? And it's like I'm sitting with him, and his mother's just bawling, crying, like, "Yo, if you get shot again," he got shot 3 times. If you get shot again, that's gonna kill me. Your little sister looks up to you, and she's like pleading and she's begging, and it's like all he can say is like, "I'm not looking for it, but if it comes to me, it's coming," right? And I'm like where is the mental health at that point, right? Everybody, it's perpetuated, and it's a rundown narrative that we face generation after generation.
Yep. Well, that's why this is so important, all right? Because what we're combating against, I work with young kids, What we combat against is the fluff life, I call it. This is no disrespect to like the industry and stuff, but the kids think what they're hearing, what they're seeing on TV, like that's real life.
Right.
This is real life. Oh, he got shot, so this is real life. It's like, so that life is getting glorified, right? When the other side of what that life is, it's like, actually, it's not like that, and it's not pretty. Actually, it's not a pretty life. All right, so we're combating against that on a regular basis. All right, so that's the TV, that's the social media, that's the peers. Sometimes it's the parents.
And what I feel that we're back again. We're talking about social media, all of that is in the foreground of everybody's vision. So everyone can see what's going on, and it's like, oh, maybe I should try this. I heard this, but you don't actually know that artist, because artists sit here, they go and
You're going in and out, Robert.
Yeah, Rob, your internet is a little wonky, sir. So we didn't catch most of what you just said.
breaking up.
Yeah.
We're breaking up. What?
I heard what he was saying, man. I could translate for him. I got.
Yeah, translate for me.
I got you, bro. He listen. My man said the social media is the devil. He said stay off that joint. But Darren said the same thing. He brought up stop looking at society, the society norms. And that also translates to social media as well, man. When we're, when we're trying to become our best selves in this thing, as far as like, obtaining mental health and being around the right community and laying down certain things that we picked up, the bad things that we picked up. We gotta stop letting social media dictate to us, man, how we need to feel or how we need to act. All of this, weak men chronic. These are things, man. So this is what society has taught us. The wrong part of society has taught us. Social media. They're pushing things. I'm like, no, stay off of that joint, man. That's not the real deal right there. Like when you go out here, I know I never met none of you brothers in person a day in my life. But I know for a fact now, like, yo, if I was to bump into you, Tony, in person, I'm like, yo, I'm going through something, bro. It would be no shame for me to dap you up at the end and be like, yo, bro, I love you. It's just gonna flow naturally, man, because it's like, bro, it is what it is. But I do want to touch on something. But I hope I pronounce her name correctly. Lakevia Lee. I like what she said. Even when it's earned, she's talking about the shame. Even when the shame is earned, we should always have the right and the opportunity to lay that shame down. And I love that because as Black men, one of the things that we do very well, and we don't need to be doing, is that we carry so much. We don't forgive ourselves enough, man. We don't forgive ourselves enough. The mistakes, the sins, all of this other stuff. We carry that joint, man. We carry that stuff to our grave. Then we wonder why stress levels are so high. Then we wonder why, heart attacks and all this other stuff is coming about. Bro, forgive yourself, man. God done forgave you. You know what I mean? The person you offended, they more than likely they done forgave you. You need to forgive yourself, man. But yeah, stop looking at social media, man. That joint the devil.
Yeah, I hear that. You won't catch me on any of that. Right?
And don't, because I definitely was trying to tag you in these posts. I said, where in the world is Tony?
Listen, I've got a Facebook, Instagram, not a whatever the hell they called, bro. I just like, look, I ain't got time for it. You can't catch me on LinkedIn.
He said, I'm an OG and a professional.
I'm an OG, all right? My kids be clowning me all the time. I'm like,
for certain business opportunities, it is helpful, but you have to learn to limit yourself on it, or have a team.
I'm gonna let my daughter do it for me. She can handle all that for me. They're pros. I'm like, all right, look, this is what I want to do. Handle that for me.
I love that. So we are doing great, you guys. This is amazing. I would love to have a part 2, but that's just me. And whatever. So the theme of this pod and the season is purpose, right? How to live in purpose, on purpose, with purpose, right? And so the technical title of this was The Climb, of how to, overcome adversity to get to a purpose-driven life. But we couldn't get to the purpose if we didn't talk about all of the nuances of this is the stuff that Black men are going through, right? Like Black men have to overcome stigmas and limitations and being put in a box and then emasculated. And then it's the stress that Chris was alluding to. It's too much, right? Mm-hmm. So now that we've discussed all of those things, mental health concerns and societal stress and all those good things, not good things, all of those things, right? How do we reach purpose? How do we find hope despite all of the things and then discover purpose? So I'm going to throw this to Chris, and then whoever wants to answer can answer after.
And I was actually thinking while you were talking, I'm like, how you find hope and how you discover purpose, man? I'm like, what's the key to all of that? What's the remedy or whatever, man? But nah, man, it's finding purpose. It's that, and I know I'm pretty sure, we probably all done heard it once or twice before, man, but it's that thing, man. It's like, when you go to bed, you can't sleep because it's still it's still on your mind or whatever, man. Mm-hmm. It's that thing that, you just can't forget about. You're going to always be pursuing it and pushing towards it. You might put it down for a season or two, but you're going to always circle back around to it, man. Purpose is the thing that you just can't live without, man. And I'm going to be honest, man, sometimes purpose, at times, man, it can be greater than family. It can be more important than your kids. It can be more important than your old lady. Purpose, man, it's phenomenal, yo. It's the thing that God put you on this earth for. To be honest with you, at the end of the day, that assignment, that purpose, God created you for something great. And within that greatness, man, is going to birth the purpose. Now, pursuing hope, shoot, man, listen, there's hope all around us. There's hope on this panel. There's stuff like that. Hope starts with stuff like this, man. Brothers, accepting the call. And it's like, let's step up. Let's be vulnerable. Let's show that, Black men, we can come together and do something great, articulate ourselves, show brotherly love, show the brotherhood. And I'm like, this is hope right here. Instead of going to, Facebook, TikTok or whatever and seeing something foolish, man, turn this on right here. This is hope right here. When you see dope Black men come together and we push out peace and we push out hope and we push out love. That's what hope starts with, stuff like this, man. So in a nutshell, purpose, the thing you can't live without, hope, is stuff like this, man. We be overlooking it. You see a beautiful flower, you're going about, don't get too busy, man. You can't stop and smell the roses. This is the flower right here. This is the rose right here.
Come on. So before the next person says anything, my brother has entered into the room. He's been on Instagram in the comment section, and he's like, I'm just going to hop on. So, the reason why
I didn't realize that you sent the link in that email, so
it's okay. Better late than never. Ladies and gentlemen, he is not my biological brother, although he is very much my twin through and through. Darnel Tyler is in the building. Hey, brother. How you doing?
What's up, Darnel? How you doing?
What's going on?
So do you want to chime in on purpose since you're here?
I didn't hear what the question was. I was trying to figure out this whole thing, so I didn't hear it.
Well, we were talking about a lot, as you know, because you was on Instagram in the comment section. So now that we discuss all of the hindrances and all the struggles that men go through, especially Black men, how do we find our way to purpose? Through hope? Through what how do we do it? Purpose.
Honestly, I mean, I'm gonna kind of just pull off of stuff from work. I think really one of the biggest things I've noticed as far as the young adolescents and kind of myself as being an adult now is consistency. I know it kind of sounds a little cliche, but being consistent in especially men, it goes a really, really long way. There's times where, I could see, I see myself and my damn, I feel like I'm pretty successful. I have a good salary and stuff, but I'm not where I'm at in life. I'm not where I want to be. But I do have, a couple people that are consistent in my life, reassuring me every day that, it just takes time. You know what I mean? Everybody's time is different. But that's where the most hope comes from for me, is just being consistent. You know what I mean? And I try to give that same thing to the kids that I work with every day. Growing up the way that I did, making it through certain things. It wasn't easy, but being consistent with them has probably been like the biggest thing, but that's kind of like the most obvious thing for me, as small as it seemed, someone being there for people that usually don't have someone really there for them. It's deep.
Yeah. I love that. So my brother does work at a juvenile detention unit. Throwing that out there. See, it makes sense, right? Yeah. The head nods that came after. All right, purpose, gentlemen.
So I'm just gonna add, man. I think again, life experiences is what gives you purpose, right? Your experience can be the teacher for the next person, for the next generation coming up, right? Use those life experiences, whatever shame, shade, hats you wearing, you take that, you provide, like you show that to the world. You use that as your experiences to give purpose that you're helping the next, right? You're building up the next. It's like Darren said, right? Like I was saying, we don't want people going through what we've gone through, if we can help it, right? So that alone gives me purpose. You say, hey, look, I've been here. I know what this is. I know what happens here, okay? Let me show you a different way. Right? Let me show you a different way. And how you keep that hope alive for me, man, I just keep growing, man. One foot in front of the other. I'm devoted to be a life learner. Every time I see something that catches my attention, my ear, I'm like, all right, let's do that, okay? I wear many hats. I'm proud to wear many hats. And for me, that being able to learn something, not only for myself, to be able to teach it to someone, that provides that hope for me. Right? That provides that. Knowing that what I'm doing is hopefully making a difference in the world, making a difference with family, making a difference with friends, whatever that might be. That's that hope right there. And I hang on to that. So those days that I'm like, oh man, dog, and they be them days, right? Y'all work in the field, you hear stories, you hear things that just breaks your heart. You're like, man, what am I doing? Like, and things that hit very close to home when you see some of these young kids go through stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, sometimes I gotta take a knee. I call it take a knee. All right, I need to take a knee. All right. But there's that purpose that comes in for me, because I'm like, if it's not me, hopefully it would be someone else. But right now it's me. I'm here. I have that. I've been there. Yeah. Let me try to help. Right. Let me try to step in and give you my life experiences. And that's all I need to do, is just give you what my life experiences was. And like Darrell said, just consistency, man. Just keep going. Right. You're gonna fall. You're gonna fail. Human nature. You're gonna mess up. Right. Yeah. You're gonna do things that's gonna bring more shame to your name, bring more shame to you. Get up. Right. Keep putting one in front of the other, man. Right. Because that alone is what's gonna help the next generation. It's gonna help the brother. It's gonna help that person that just might not know where to turn.
I love that. So I know that Cordan, I'm sure Cordan wants to say something, and Darren does as well. But one thing that I love about this specific panel are the panelists, right? We heard about incarceration, we heard about adoption and military and suicide and making mistakes and failing. And when me and Cordan had talked about that specific individual that he had, and now I'm not of the streets, y'all. I just know a lot of things, We were talking about the OGs. It's like, what happened to the OGs who are supposed to be telling these YNs, like this ain't how we do things. Like, I don't know where that is, right? And it's a shame that the OGs are kind of missing, right? But then we have outstanding men who have learned how to transition all of the pain, all of the misfortune, all of the shortcomings, and are now outstanding men. Like I said, I know all of these men. Each and every one of them in their own right are outstanding men, which goes to show it doesn't matter where you started. It's a matter of how you develop and then what you turn into, right? Each and every one of these men have gone through something, heavy some things, right? Suicide was talked about. If they were done, they wouldn't be here to be able to help the next generation. So despite of what or where you came from, always know that purpose is given to you the moment you are conceived and brought into this world. Destiny is already inside of you. Your job is to tap in, and like Tony and Darnel were saying, find out through your life experiences, like what is this thing that I've been given? The purpose, the hope, the vision, the dreams, the whatever you want to call it, right? You got to tap in, and it's not just a thought. It's a passion. It's a conviction. It's spiritual. It's emotional. It's mental. It's all of these things. And all of these things are required to truly find out what is my life's purpose and how do I make the climb to get from where I was to where I'm trying to go. So I just want to say that before I forgot it because it was sitting right there. So go ahead, Cordan, Darren. Go ahead.
Darren, you want to go? How you want to do it?
Just to piggyback on what May was saying, so because I do think that that's important. Like I believe, like for my purpose, I want to repeat the mistakes that were made in our last generation. Because she's right. We do have a few OGs. We do have a lot of people from our last generation missing that would have bridged the gap to make sure our generational wealth, not just financial, but mental and spiritual, is still being fulfilled. So, I believe, most 80s babies up with we were born in a generation of curse breakers. We see a lot of the trauma that our parents, our grandparents, the generation before them have gone through, and what they've set us up with gave us a platform to start denying it, to start saying, hey, this cycle has to stop at some point. And I think that's a lot of our, a lot of our purpose in that point. If you grew up in a household without your father, and now you've become a father, part of your purpose is, I'm not leaving this child's life. I don't want them to understand what that felt like growing up. They're not going to learn that from me, so that you can start affecting the next generation and the next one beyond that. Because, until you start to implant these things in the younger generation, they're not going to know or have the steps, processes, and knowledge to pass it on to their children to affect the next generation. Like, it has to start somewhere, so that purpose is taking, like what Tony was saying, your life experiences, your life struggles, the traumas you've overcome, your testimony, put it into that and make sure that it does get placed into the people in the younger generation so that they can do something with it. If it stops with us, then we've doomed the next generation, and they're going to figure out, where were we, when they have these talks at our age. It's like, I don't want to be that generation that was missing, when there was opportunity to help people younger than me or people that are, same age as me that may not have gotten what I've received, because I didn't grow up with all of this knowledge. I didn't grow up with a lot of this emotional intelligence. It was learned through the trauma that I've had to overcome. And I want to make sure there's someone down the line, if I touch them, they can understand this. This can be passed on. They can learn from it. They're not alone in what they're struggling with, even though I might not completely understand or be able to relate to it. I don't want it to get lost. Like, when we speak on generational wealth, I know it's always around money. Who didn't have their house, they got their house, in the 70s for $100K. Now it's a half, like it's more than $1 million. Like, there's more than just wealth we should be passing down to our young children. The teenagers, the ones that are, the graduating seniors, the people that are just getting through undergrad. Like, there's more that we can be passing on to them so that their generation can be better. Because we have the power to multiply our generational wealth. I know it didn't get started as soon as we wanted it to, but we have the power to multiply that.
We got the power. Sorry, ignore me. Go ahead, Cordan.
So everybody's wrapped up very good what purpose means, how to cultivate it, how to chase it, how to believe in it. I feel like I always go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? The base being your physiological needs. Like, no, I feel like when we talk about purpose, that's great. Where we're going to, I feel like on a daily basis, everything that we're talking about is like, if you don't know where you're like, if you don't know where you're sleeping, if you don't know where your food's coming from, if you don't have a good job that's stabilizing your bills, if you don't know where your family's at, if you have a sense of connection with nobody in your community, if you struggle with self-confidence, shame, all of these things impact our ability to be purposeful in this world. Right? And I feel like knowing all those things on what it takes is important. Knowing that we need love, or accepting and acknowledging that we need love, that we need a warm place to stay. I know that there are some of us that manage without all of those things into place. And I think that we're better off for it. But it's important that we have those things, that we know where we are, that we know that we're loved, that we have purpose in our life, that we feel like we have a challenge to accept in the world. I think it's important. So I think just love and light, peace and blessings, trust and discipline will always get you there. Discipline to maintain all things. And I think, again, when we talk about purpose, I just want to remind everybody to just be. Yes, you have a purpose, but just be. Some of you do not know what your purpose is.
Yeah.
It's okay to not know what your purpose is today. Some of you had a purpose and it went away. Some of you are rebuilding what your purpose looks like. And I just want you to know that you are loved, that you are perfect just as you are. And your gift to the world is just breathing and being. And we'll see you at the top.
You're here for a reason.
Yeah.
Amen. Beautiful.
Well,
man.
okay, Cordan, if you want to just take over the show, go ahead. This was great. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am humbled to be able to say that I know all of these amazing gentlemen, and now y'all do too. So you're welcome. And anyway, so we're at the end of every episode, I like to make sure that I close out and have my guests share some final words of affirmation. I mean, basically what Cordan just did. We gonna go around the table again and have everyone share. And then if you have business or whatever you have that you want to share with the community, please do, because we have coaches, we have mentors on here, we have IT specialists. Hey, and you know, we have men here that do amazing things. So I meant the final words that you have, final words of encouragement that you want to share, and then if there's anything business-wise or that you want to share as well. And then I'm gonna come back and say my piece, and then we're gonna close out. So I guess we're gonna go in order. We got Tony, Cordan, Darren, Chris, Darnel, and Rob if his internet decides to work.
Let's go, Rob. Yeah, so I'll start by saying, look, man, you're not alone out there, right? Whatever it is you got, there's other people in the world that have it. There's a thing that I love to I love to think about all the time when it comes to me. It's like my level to be able to endure the adversity, the suffering, the long suffering. That's what the book calls it, right? And how does that show up around me, my life, my family, kids, whatever it is. And I always love to extend that, right? How do we get there? How we get that place? How do you get there? So just knowing that it starts with there. There's love out there. There's people out there that care about you. They want to see you succeed. They want to see you do well, right? They want to be there for you. Plenty out there. What we just need is some people with the platform to step up and just be there. Just do that.
All right, period. Let's do it. Love that. Nike symbol, check. All right, Cordan.
I already gave mine, but I get to go again.
Now, if you want, if that was your slice of pie, then go on and
come back here, got something else.
Okay.
I'll leave something quick. Little black boy, I love you. You are beautiful. You are pure. You are enjoyed. We love you. And dear grown black man, I love you too. I'm not your enemy. I am your peace. I am your brother. I am your keeper. And I'm here for you. Love you.
Amen.
Oh, love.
That's all.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that love that you were just giving. Go on, Darren.
Okay. I'll start. Well, I'll make mine short. It's a hard lesson, for those listening, but like trust in God's timing. Because there's so many things that we can go through that we wish we got sooner. We wish, why didn't this happen sooner? And we can feel so dismal because it's not happening when we wanted it to, or when we needed it to, more specifically. But one thing I've learned is like when you trust in God's timing, it ain't ever going to make sense to you at all. But when it does happen, and even when it doesn't, you better still be thankful.
That's right.
Because it's a very, it's something I know I struggle with myself, and I know if it's happening to me, I'm not the only one. Because sometimes when things move, that's it, and my only hope for those is that you stay ready enough so when he says that time is now, you're ready to move. You're already packed. Your go bag is ready. You've been practicing and working for that moment. You didn't know when it was coming. You just knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, stay ready, stay positive, and just look to be as optimistic as possible because there's always something worse. There's always something happening worse to somebody else. There's always something worse that can happen to you. And if you're not staying positive through it, you'll miss it. And when you get that message, it's time to move. You're so stuck in what you're feeling, how you're feeling. Why didn't it happen for me? You missed the sign.
You missed the blessings.
See, this is why he need to be preaching on somebody's here pulpit, but I ain't gonna say nothing. Yeah, because God is a God of movement, y'all, and if you ain't with him, I don't know what y'all doing. So y'all need to get, what they say, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, stay ready. Mm-hmm. Is what my best friend just said. Anyway, Chris.
In the famous words of Uncle Luke, don't stop, get it. Man, listen, fellas, stay consistent, stay diligent. Like I said, you find your North Star and man, listen, stay in that direction, stay consistent. And make sure you're your own best friend. That's one thing. Listen, man, make sure you're your own best friend. We're a good friend. We're a great friend. We're a best friend to everybody else, but sometimes we're not even a best friend to ourselves. So make sure you're doing that. Stay consistent and be your own best friend.
Mm-hmm. You better talk, sir. Now, Darren, I'm still your bestie, but yeah, you be your bestie too. Mm-hmm. I like that. Chris, that was good. Be your own best friend. And come on, Uncle Luke. We love us a good throwback. Go ahead, Darnel.
Mine is kind of simple but a little difficult. But I would say, find your healthy circle. There's something that I tell a lot of people. I tell almost everybody. I don't care if I get married. I don't care what's going on in my life. My circle will always be my circle. I cannot allow anybody to change that. You know what I mean? They've helped me through a lot. My circle is very diverse. It is very diverse. I got some, not so great people, and then I have some really good people, but they all serve me in different ways, and one of them, I've been dealing with some stuff, as far as living and buying a house, and we all know how, the climate with that is going on and stuff. And I'm like, what, maybe I just wait. And one of them was like, nah, man, you gotta realize that you're the foundation for your family. You're the one that's probably gonna have to bite that bullet and, go through all this stuff so that, your kids can be a little bit better, and then their kids could be a little bit better, and then so on and so forth. And, if I didn't, if I allowed outside things to get in the middle of my circle, I might not have had that person. So, my thing is definitely, if you got some healthy people, and like I said, even the not so healthy people have things to give. They do. Everybody has something to give. It's you can't surround yourself with all great people because then you don't know what the bad stuff is. So get yourself a nice healthy circle of individuals that have something to offer.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Y'all was dropping again, America, you're welcome, because these are some amazing men doing amazing things, and y'all just got fed. I hope you're full. I hope you have something to wash down all of these great, things you just consumed, because this is a great time. So, gentlemen, I am extremely grateful and thankful that you guys are here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing a part of your mind, your heart, and your soul with my pod, with my people, my folks. I hope that this bless you guys as well. Very rarely do people talk about the sacrifice it means to pour. And I hope that as you guys were pouring, you guys were also being filled as well, because this is love. Melanated, strong love right here, So I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, Tony, Cordan, Darren, Chris, Rob, wherever you are. Hey, and my twin, Darnel, I appreciate all of you guys. Ladies, we are up next. Now, obviously, next week is Thanksgiving, so we're going to let y'all have family time, but then we're going to figure out when we're bringing the ladies for another panel. These gentlemen are here. They're, except for Tony, y'all going to have to go on LinkedIn to find Tony. Everyone else is on Instagram and, Facebook. If you need them, you can find them. Again, Coach Chris, Cordan is his own business, so have fun with that. Darren, if y'all need some IT, y'all let me know and I'll let him know. Darnel, my twin, does everything. We love him. So don't click off. There's an outro video of all the things I got going on. Please share this with anyone who needs to see this. Share it with your community. Share it with your church. Share it with whoever. Lottie-dottie, everybody. I appreciate y'all, and I will catch y'all on the flip side. All right. Again, don't click off. Outro video's coming. Watch it.
Hello. I hope that whatever you just heard and saw, it was impactful, because that's why we're doing it, right? If there was something that was said, please feel free to share it with somebody. Share it with your network. Share it with your team. Share it with your family. Babies, kids, and all of them. Share it with them. Okay. If you want to have a viewing party, have a viewing party. Okay. All right. So as you know, at the end of every episode, I do have an announcement video, because I'm doing a lot of work. Stuff has been a brewing. We've been cooking over here. Okay. So as you know, I still have my affirmations, mental health affirmations coloring book on Amazon, where you are affirmed from beginning to end while you're coloring. It's a great time. You should go get it. Also, to the other side is my interactive journal that helps you to grieve and leave an old thing, prepare for the new thing, but also not lose it in the middle, because that's when we do lose it, is in the middle. When we leave one thing and the next thing. Yeah. So get those. Those are both on Amazon. There's a book coming, hopefully in December. Fingers crossed. So look out for that as well. I also have my Divorcing Survival Mode group that is starting on 11/11 at 7. So that's November 11th at 7 p.m. on Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. It's going to run. It's going to be a real quick course. There's going to be more, but this one's going to be real quick, because we are ending 2025 and we're getting ready for 2026. And we want to make sure that we end well so that we can start better, And then I also have an Appointed Time Academy. These are for my visionaries, the people who have the vision, who have the idea, who really want to get this going, but we're stuck. And so I'm here to help, use my gifts, talents, service, anointings, blessings, all the things to make sure that we are doing well and we're doing it healed. All right. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, episode ideas, let me know. My information's at the end of this video, and then we can have a chit chat. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy it. Bye.